Why do I feel like I'm falling apart now? Why can't I remember simple things, start tasks, or finish a sentence without forgetting what I was saying mid sentence? Why am I putting my almond milk in the pantry? And why, after 40 plus years of holding it all together, does it suddenly feel like my brain is full of fog, my emotions are on a roller coaster, and I cannot focus on anything for more than 30 seconds? If you've asked yourself, is this ADHD? Is it perimenopause? Is it just me? You're not alone. Today, we're breaking down why so many Gen X women and older millennials are suddenly seeing ADHD symptoms for the first time in their 40s and 50s, and what's really going on in your brain and body. So let's start here. If you were a girl growing up in the late 60s, 70s, 80s, or even the early 90s, you probably weren't diagnosed with ADHD because most of us weren't. ADHD was still defined as a boy's disorder, and sometimes still is, actually. If you weren't bouncing off the walls, getting sent to the principal's office, or failing out of school, you probably got labeled as something like emotional, disorganized, messy, lazy, too sensitive, not living up to your true potential, or at least, if you're like me, too talkative. So you compensated, you masked, you people pleased, you overfunctioned, you overachieved in some areas and completely shut down in others. And then midlife hits and everything changes. And by the way, not a super huge fan of the word midlife, but it was the best way to describe what I mean. And I think you get it. Here's what most doctors still don't explain well: estrogen and dopamine, your brain's motivation and focus chemical, are deeply connected. Estrogen helps modulate dopamine in the brain. So when estrogen levels start to fluctuate during perimenopause, as well as during times like puberty and pregnancy, guess what happens? Your dopamine function gets disrupted too. And so what does that look like? Trouble focusing, brain fog, memory lapses, low motivation, emotional volatility, although some of that I actually think is because we get tired of the bullshit of the patriarchy by the time we're in this at this stage of our life, but maybe that's for another episode. Sleep problems, overwhelmed from the smallest tasks. Does that sound familiar? That's why for so many women, ADHD symptoms, or as I like to call them, traits, start showing up or get dramatically worse after age 40. But here's the tricky part. Is it ADHD? Or is it just perimenopause? Or is it both? Let's break it down. ADHD is a neurodevelopmental condition. That means it's always been there, but may have been hidden by structure, hormones, or coping strategies that perhaps no longer work. Perimenopause is a hormonal transition. It can mimic or amplify ADHD symptoms by disrupting dopamine, sleep, mood, and cognition. So if you're suddenly struggling in your 40s or 50s, it could be ADHD that's been flying under the radar until now, perimenopause making everything harder, or a combo where the hormonal shifts are unmasking underlying ADHD that you may not have known you had. So here's the bottom line. If you're asking, what's wrong with me? The answer is probably nothing. You're not lazy, you're not broken, and your brain and hormones are just going through a massive shift at the same time. So what now? Well, it's tricky to suss some of this out, so get curious instead of critical. Start tracking your symptoms, especially around your cycle if you still have one. Sleep, focus, and mood. You might notice patterns that you hadn't connected. Learn about both ADHD and perimenopause. Personally, I like to read How to ADHD by Jessie McCabe. That's a good one. She's also a woman, so that's fantastic. Also, it's like ADHD Focus by Jessie Anderson, but I'm Extra Focus by Jessie Anderson. That's a great ADHD one to read. Or read about perimenopause. Read the Menopause Manifesto. Check out Mary Claire Haver's books. on the new menopause and some of the other ones, or watch her YouTube channel. Follow accounts like mine that talk about the intersection. Explore nervous system regulation. If your body is feeling stuck in fight, flight, or shutdown, regulating your nervous system can make everything more manageable. That's actually why I created the 28-day nervous system regulation challenge, to give you tools that actually work with your ADHD brain. And to be honest, it was inspired in late 2024 as I saw what was coming down the pike in the world. And last, seek support. This might mean a diagnosis, talking to a doctor about hormone support, or working with someone who gets the neurodivergent experience of midlife, or being in our 40s and 50s. Know that if you're a Gen X woman wondering why you suddenly can't keep it all together, even if you could before, it's not just in your head. It's in your hormones and it's in your neurobiology. It's in a lifetime of being undiagnosed, unsupported, and expected to carry the emotional labor of everyone around you, not to mention a lot of unpaid physical labor as well. But now you get to understand your brain. You get to care for your nervous system. You get to unmask, regulate, and rebuild your life in a way that actually supports you. You're not too late. You're right on time. If this hit home, let me know in the comments. When did you first start wondering if ADHD was part of your story? And if you're ready for deeper support in regulating your nervous system and reclaiming your clarity, energy, and peace, check out my 28-day challenge linked below. You've got this, and I've got your back. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.